until 1977, when quality controls and strengthening measures addressed the problem and allowed for MiG-23 squadrons to conduct basic fighter maneuvers. 11. Around 1,300 MiG-23 MS were produced for the VVS and PVO from 1972 to 1978. 132. MiG-23 MF, Flogger B. This was an export derivative of the MiG-23M produced from 1978 to 1983 at Znamya-Truda. One version, ISW-2AM or 23-11, intended for sale to the Warsaw Pact, was practically the same as the MiG-23M with small differences in communication and IF equipment. The other, ISW-2B or 23-11B, was designed for sale for certain Third World client states. Like the 23-11, it featured the Sapphire 23D3 radar, redesignated Sapphire 23E, but lacked electronic countermeasure (ECCM) features and had lower overall performance. Their communication equipment was also less powerful, with LASO SMA data link removed from some aircraft. Until 1981, these were delivered to customers with the R-13M missile instead of the R-60.11 MiG-23MS, Flogger E, another export variant. The MiG-23MS was a downgrade version of the MiG-23M designed for Third World customers who couldn't be trusted with the advanced technology of the MiG-23MF. While utilizing the same airframe and engine as the MiG-23M, the MiG-23MS was equipped with the same weapons and equipment as the MiG-21S/SM. A downgraded export version of the RP-22SM radar gave the MiG-23MS its distinctively short nose radome, while the undernose IRST was removed. The only missiles it was capable of firing were up to 4 R-3S and R-3R air-to-air missiles. The improved R-13M was added later. This variant was produced at Znamya-Truda between 1973 and 1978, with 54 sent to Syria, 18 to Iraq, 8 to Egypt, and 54 to Libya. Egypt handed over several of their MiG-23MSs to China and the United States for technical evaluation. 11. MiG-23MP, Flogger E, virtually identical to the MiG-23MS. The only difference was that the MiG-23MP added a dielectric head above the pylon, a feature associated with ground attack versions. A possible developmental prototype, very few were produced and none were exported. 133. MiG-23U. Flogger C. The MiG-23U was a twin-seat training variant based on the MiG-23S, first appearing 6 months after the single-seater's introduction. Its only major design difference was the addition of a second cockpit where the equipment bay was located, necessitating its movement into the redesigned nose. It retained the MiG-23's GSH-23L gun with 200 rounds and could carry up to 3,000 kilograms, 6,600 pounds, of bombs. Equipped with the S-21 weapon control system centered on the Sapphire 21M radar, the MiG-23U could fire the R-3S and R-13M missiles. Also like the MiG-23 edition 1971 and MiG-23M, a fourth fuel tank was added with a capacity of 470 liters. 134. Production of the MiG-23U began at Irkutsk in 1971 and eventually converted to the MiG-23UB. 133. MiG-23UB, Flogger C, another two-seat trainer. The MiG-23UB made its maiden flight on 10 April 1970, with production starting later that year at the Irkutsk aviation plant. It was equipped with the SAU-23UB flight control system and Polyet 11-23 navigation system, consisting of a RSBN-6S tactical aid to navigation, a SKV-2N2 reference gyroscope and a DV-30 and DV-10 air data system. While early production aircraft did feature the SAP-21M radar, it was soon replaced with ballast blocks under a conical metal fairing. Additionally, starting in 1971, production MiG-23 UBs received the Edition 3 wing, and from 1979 onward those delivered to MiG-23M/ML regiments received the SOUA limiter to constrain AOA to within 28 degrees. Production of the MiG-23 UB for the VVS and PVO continued until 1978, and until 1985 for export customers. More than 1,000 MiG-23 UBs were produced, with 760 of these for the VVS and PVO. 134, second generation. MiG-23P, Flogger G. This was a specialized air defense interceptor variant developed for the PVO Strani as an interim low-cost stopgap, replacing the Su-9/Su-11 and MiG-19P/P still in service. The MiG-23P, Mikoyan-Gurevich or interceptor, had the same airframe and power plant as the MiG-23ML, but its avionics suite was improved to meet PVO requirements and mission profiles. Its radar was the improved SAP-23P N006, which could be used in conjunction with the ASP-23P gunsight forward/HUD, later replaced with the improved ASP-23MLP, for better look-down forward/shoot-down capabilities to counter increasing low-level threats like F-111S. 135. The IRST however was removed. 136. The SAU-23 autopilot included a new digital computer which, operating in conjunction with the Lajunda-Tallink, enabled ground-controlled interception, GCI, ground stations to steer the aircraft towards the target. In such an intercept, all the pilot had to do was control the engine and use the weapons. The MiG-23P was the most numerous PVO interceptor in the 1980s, around 500, manufactured between 1978 and 1981, but was never exported. 136. It also endured after the breakup of the Soviet Union, with the last MiG-23P units operating until 1998. Interestingly, in mock BVR air combat the MiG-23P when flown by experienced pilots proved to be equal or even better than the Su-27. 135. MiG-23 bis, Flogger G, similar to the MiG-23P except the IRST was restored and the cumbersome radar scope replaced with a new HUD. 136. MiG-23ML, Flogger G. The early MiG-23 variants had a number of design shortcomings, including airframe strength and reliability, engine performance, maneuverability and radar performance. A considerable redesign of the airframe was conducted, resulting in the MiG-23ML, L-Key or lightweight, which was given the NATO designation Flogger G. Empty weight was reduced 1,250 kilograms. 2,760 pound, by removing the number 4 fuselage fuel tank. Aerodynamics were refined for less drag, with the dorsal fin extension removed. The MiG-23ML operated by the Czech Air Force in 1994. Lighter weight of the airframe and a redesign of the main undercarriage units resulted in a different sit on the ground, with the aircraft's nose at a lower attitude compared to the nose-high appearance of earlier variants. Structural weaknesses, in particular the wing pivot mechanism, were strengthened so that the airframe was now rated for a G limit of 8.5 at speeds below Mach 0.85 and 7.5 G at faster speeds. This also allowed the angle of attack, AOA, limiter to be set to 20-22 degree with the wings fully swept back, and 28-30 degree otherwise. 12. A new engine model, The R-35F300 now provided a maximum dry thrust of 83.82 kN, 18,840 lbf, and 128.08 kN, 28,790 lbf, with afterburner. This led to a considerably improved thrust-to-weight ratio of 0.83 versus 0.77 for the MiG-23M, though in real-world conditions the ratio would be lower due to engine detuning, and a lower specific fuel consumption of 1.96 kg/kgf.h at maximum afterburn, versus 2.09 in the earlier R27F2M300. After initial issues of reliability, the time between overhauls was also extended to 450 hours, though like earlier engines it was limited to only 10 hours at full military power or afterburner. 12. The avionics set was considerably improved as well. The S-23ML standard included SAPFIR 23ML radar and TP-23M IRST.137, the Polyet 21-23 navigation suite, LASOR 23 SML datalink, SAU 23M flight control system, and RV5R Repa M radar altimeter were all improvements on previous systems. Thanks to the new SUV-2ML weapon system, the MiG-23ML could carry both types of R-23 BVR missiles, and the underwing pylons could accommodate UPK-23-250 23mm gun pods. 12. Overall, the MiG-23ML's combat effectiveness was about 20% better than the MiG-23M according to Mikoyan-Gurevich. Instantaneous turn rate was 16.7 degrees per second at a corner speed of 780 km per hour, 480 miles per hour, and 27 degrees AOA. Average rate of turn was 14.1 degrees per second. Completing a 360 degrees turn at an altitude of 1000 m, 3,300 feet, took 27 seconds at an average of 6.5 g, with an entry speed of 900 km per hour, 560 miles per hour, and final speed of 540 km forward/h, 340 miles per hour. At the same altitude, accelerating from 600 km per hour, 370 miles per hour, to 1000 km forward/h, 620 miles per hour, at full afterburn took 12 seconds, while the rate of climb was 215 m forward/s, 710 foot forward/s, though this fell off as altitude increased. In total, the time it took a MiG-23ML to take off and dredge 15,000 m, 49,000 feet, while accelerating to Mach 2.1 on full afterburner was 4.3 minutes. 12. The MiG-23ML prototype first took flight on the 21st of January, 1975 and quickly entered mass production later that same year, though export customers continued to receive the MiG-23MF for another 7 years. More than 1,100 MiG-23MLs, and its derivatives including MiG-23MLA, were built for Soviet and export users between 1978 and 1983. 12. Soviet MiG-23MLA Flogger-G MiG-23MLA, Flogger-G, the later production variant of the ML was designated the MiG-23MLA. The fighter first flew in 1977, with mass production beginning in 1978 and sales to foreign customers starting in 1981. Externally, the MLA was identical to ML. Internally, the MLA had an improved SAPFIR 23 MLA N003 radar with better range, reliability and ECM resistance, and a frequency spacing feature which made cooperative air-group search operations possible as the radars would now not jam each other. It also had a new ASP 17mm HUD/gun sight, and starting in 1981 the capability to fire improved Vimpel R-24R/T missiles. A TP-23 MIRST was included, which had a maximum detection range of 15 km, 9.3 mi, for a high-altitude fighter sizer to get operating at full power, or 45 km, 28 mi, for a bomber-sized target. However, its field-of scanning was restricted compared to the radar, only 60 degrees in azimuth and 15 degrees in elevation. As with the MiG-23MF, there were two different MiG-23ML subvariants for export. The first version was sold to Warsaw-Pact countries and was very similar to Soviet aircraft. The second variant had downgraded radar and it was sold to Third World countries. 12. Soviet MiG-23MLD Flogger K. MiG-23MLD, Flogger K. The MiG-23MLD was the ultimate fighter variant of the MiG-23. The main focus of the upgrade was to improve maneuverability, especially during high-ho, which was identified as the MiG-23M/ML's chief shortcoming. The petard boom was equipped with vortex generators, and the wing's notched leading edge roots were saw-toothed to act as vortex generators as well. The flight control system incorporated the SOS-3-4 synthetic stick-stop device /signals limiter being used on the MiG-29 to improve handling and safety in high AOA maneuvers. A strengthening of the wing pivot allowed the addition of a fourth wing sweep position of 33 degrees, which was intended to reduce turn radius and allow for rapid deceleration during dogfights. However, with the wings at the 33 degrees position, the MiG-23MLD was much more difficult to handle and suffered from poor acceleration. Moving the wings to this position was primarily reserved for experienced MiG-23 pilots, while combat manuals continued to emphasize the 45 degrees position. 13. Significant improvements were made in avionics, with the incorporation of the Sapphire 23MLA2 N008 radar, which featured greater range, reliability, ECM resistance and improved modes for look-down, forward/shoot-down over rough terrain. The radar also featured a close-in fighting mode with vertical scan capability covering a narrow sector in front of the fighter. Against a bomber-sized target operating at medium to high altitudes, the Sapphire 23MLA2 had a maximum detection range of 70 km, 43 mi. Other improvements included SPO-15L Beryoza radar warning receiver, a 321 klystron digital tactical radio navigation /automatic landing system, SAU-23-18 automatic flight control system, and SARP-12-24 crash-resistant flight recorder. Survivability was improved with a pair of 6-round downward-firing chaff/flare dispensers mounted in the under-fuselage centerline pylon, complemented by the two 30-round upward-firing BVP-50-60 chaff/flare dispenser. 13. No new-build MLD aircraft were delivered to the VVS, as the more advanced MiG-29 was about to enter production. Instead, all Soviet MLDs were former ML/MLA aircraft modified to MLD standard, with 560 examples being converted at 3 VVS maintenance facilities in Kubinka, Chuhuiv and Lviv from May 1982 to May 1985. As with Ilya MiG-23 versions, two distinct export variants were offered. Unlike Soviet examples, these were new-build aircraft, though they lacked the aerodynamic refinements of Soviet MLDs. 16 examples were delivered to Bulgaria, and 50 to Syria between 1982 and 1984. These were the last single-seat MiG-23 fighters made. 13. Ground attack variants. MiG-23B. Flogger F. Created to meet the need for a new fighter bomber, The MiG-23B was similar to the MiG-23S but with a redesigned forward fuselage and a dielectric head just above F-pylon. In the flat-bottomed, tapered-down nose was a PRNK so-called 23 ground attack sight system in place of the radar. The system included an analog computer.